And even though this is a Neel Nation episode, I really think that it's Fern who does the most growth as a character. Hello there. Chat, they can't all be winners. It had to come at some point during episodes 1 through 8 that we were going to get an episode that didn't really hit. And unfortunately, this episode did not hit for me. We are going to discuss episode 4 of the Skeleton Crew. Can't say I remember no At-Attin. And don't get me wrong, this episode was still good and there were a lot of things that I liked about it, but I think there is just some fundamental issues that I will discuss a little bit later that I just couldn't overlook. By the way, my name is Crystal, as in Kyber crystals. I really just wanted to hang out, do some makeup, and talk about Skeleton Crew with you. And that's what I do on my channel. I talk about fandom related things, and I usually do my makeup at the same time. So if you're interested in any of those things, then you know I got you. And if you're ever interested in what makeup I'm using, I will have it listed in the description down below. I also will use as much of my Star Wars makeup as I can because, girl, I have so much and we need to use it. Now, this isn't going to be a tutorial, so I won't be walking you through the makeup. It's more about us just hanging out and talking about what we're watching. Because Skeleton Crew is kind of like our Stranger Things, but Star Wars, our 80s nostalgic kind of Star Wars show. I think every episode moving forward, I want to try different like 80s looks. So episode 4 picks up with our Skeleton Crew finding At-Attin, or so we think. And Wim says something like, oh man, when things are just starting to get fun. And I really shared this sentiment with him. I was a little disappointed that we were already on At-Attin because I really wanted more time with like the kids, like the Skeleton Crew and the kids, like going on these different adventures. But as we find out, we're actually on At-Attin. So I'm glad that we aren't back on our home planet. The kids land on At-Attin and we get a lot of really cute moments here. I really love the dynamic between all the kids and Jod and SM33. There's a lot of little tiny things that they do that make the characters feel so real. I really love that the kids just boss Jod around and he just kind of goes with it. He really has to play nice, and I just think that that dynamic is really funny. I also love that SM33 comes in and he's like, all right, time to babysit. And while they're exploring At-Attin, we do get a lot of cute little character development. Neel's trunk hurting or being clogged from the smoke. He's definitely the kid that needs the inhaler. It's like little moments like these that are sprinkled throughout the whole show that really make these kids feel so believable and so real to me. Our kids are confronted by other kids and they're asked, what flag do you fly? And initially this was giving me big like Rufio vibes. This point in the story, when these characters were introduced, I was really excited. We find out that there are 2 tribes, the Trioke and the Hattans. Girl, but we find out that there's like a little war happening between them. Our Skeleton Crew's caught in the middle of it. I think it's so interesting meeting these kids versus like our Skeleton Crew kids because it really highlights the naivety or the naivete of our Skeleton Crew. Wim wants this adventure. He is romanticizing the idea of adventure and doesn't understand that there's like real problems that come with living this kind of lifestyle. Fern has kind of met her match in Hannah. I think that Hannah represents something that maybe Fern is realizing that she can't be. Since we've met Fern, she has like a facade of tough. She's always self-proclaiming as the leader. She wants the title, like she wants to be in charge. And I think the minute that we meet Hannah is when Fern's mask starts to slip because Hannah gives them directions. Like she tells them, this is where we're going. This is what we need to do. You guys need to hide. And it's the first time that Fern doesn't have like anything to say to someone bossing her around. She kind of listens. Before this, Fern had everything to say to someone telling her what to do. She had something to say to pirates, to Jod, to the other kids. And then we see another crack in Fern's character when the kids are taken to the leaders of the Trioke. And the leader is telling them that, you know, they treat their kids like adults. And I think that there's 2 things happening here with Fern specifically. I think it gives her the opportunity to really embrace and live as this captain role that she's decided to take on. But I also think that this idea of kids being treated as adults kind of scares her. But I don't think she's like letting herself be scared. I think she's kind of bottling everything up and is taking this opportunity to be like, yeah, I am the captain. And even though this is a Neel Nation episode or a show with heavy emphasis on Neel, I really think that it's Fern who does the most growth as a character. I feel like I really understand Fern. Like from the moment we met her, from the trailers we got with her, I feel like I was really like, that's my girl. I think that Jod and SM33 are so funny. Their dynamic is just hilarious to me. I like that Jod does like these little things like steal from the kids that remind us that he's not a good guy. Like he's still a pirate at the end of the day. Funniest moment in this episode is when Jod and SM33 are bickering and SM33 is like, oh yeah, like the warriors. And Jod is like, God, you old robot, you're so dumb. And then it's revealed that they're surrounded by like warriors and soldiers. And Jod puts up his hands and he's like, you know what? Kill me. I laughed a little bit too hard at that. Okay, so I am going to use my Star Wars palette. I am going to use Jedi Knight and Rebellion. I'm going to use these two. I know I'm doing blue again, but you know, it is what it is. So back to our kids, we're taking to the Trioaks like hideout, and the kids are learning how to use weapons. They're told they need to learn how to train, but Neel, he's not really about that life. He kind of is just hanging back, and our girl Hannah takes like a little special interest in him, and she decides to show him this big gun that she has. Actually, that's so funny. She's like trying to impress him. We learn a lot about Neel as a character. He's very kind, he's selfless, he is non-violent, and he's a pacifist. But as we learn when he has more conversations with Hannah, we kind of find out that his pacifism, like if he's a pacifist, am I saying that word right? It's not really due to him and like his morals. He really hasn't had to test these morals, not like these kids at Akron have. What I'm trying to say is we kind of learn that his pacifism, his pacifist ways are out of convenience. But we kind of learn that he doesn't fight because he's scared. And I think Neel is also learning like, hey, maybe I don't need to be so afraid. Like, look at these kids who have everything to fight for. I think this is really cute character development for Neel. And we get to see this conversation reflected back with Neel at the end of the episode when Neel stands up for his friends. I really wanted to point something out during this scene of Neel and Hannah talking on the top of the roof of the school. And this is like so trivial, but it's just things that I noticed. I really love the lighting design of this scene. I like that we get some directional light and it helps tell the story that this is a sunset. But I really appreciate things like this because it just feels like we've been getting such flat shows whenever it's shot on the volume. And just this little bit of light leak across the characters just makes it feel a little bit more real. And now that our kids have trained a little bit, they are asked to lead a raid. I'm going to use my Sith Seduction palette by Pat McGrath. I have been trying to use this palette for like a year. I'm going to use this blue shade called Galactic Conquest. And it's kind of confusing to me, like why are they making them do this? There's like some weird hostility here that I don't really understand. The kids are being led into battle at this point, and it is a pretty tense moment, I think, with the kids understanding like, yo, I have to do this. And as they march forward into the fog, they are greeted by Jod and SM33. And I don't know, it just felt like a little bit sus to me. I still don't trust Jod. Not yet. He has to earn my trust. You know what I mean? There's still something like weird going on with him, and he's still lying to the kids. He's stealing from the kids. I really liked this moment between Jod and Fern when Jod gets the kids back and Fern is just walking to him in disbelief, and he's just kind of like, hey Fern. It's like the way he said that line, like the delivery of it was just so innocent and just like, you good? I don't know. I just thought that line delivery was so good, and their like interactions between each other was really good. I also love this moment for Jod's character because I think he likes being the kids' heroes. But of course, we get back to distrusting Jod when he admits to the kids, or offhandedly admits that he stole money from them. So the kids are a little bit disappointed in him, and I think he doesn't like that, but we don't really get a big reaction. In my head, he doesn't like that he disappointed them. He's defensive about it right away. He's like, I did it to save you. Can't admit that it was wrong to do it. And then we get a little goodbye kiss between Hannah and Neel. And I think that this little moment between Hannah and Neel gives Neel courage. The kids make it to the tower. And this is where the episode starts to lose me a little bit, because we're told earlier in the episode that it's too dangerous to go to this tower, but we just kind of like cut to being in the tower. Okay. And we find out that there are 6 other planets amongst At-Attin and Atakan. They find that the coordinates to At-Attin has been destroyed, and it turns out it was SM-33, but he's being like weird and cryptic, and he has a bad memory. Fern gets really frustrated at this point, and she like walks away to go cry. This is the moment that Fern really breaks. She starts to feel responsible for getting everyone almost killed, feeling like she's not a good leader. Like, this is really a big moment of vulnerability in character for Fern. And Wim does his best to offer her some kind of like comfort or reassurance, but then she has a breakthrough realization that maybe the droid was told to forget. We find out that the droid does have information about At-Attin. He was told to forget about it. His captain killed everyone that saw the map to At-Attin, and he's gonna kill the kids now. He actually does get a little bit scary in this moment. Like, he like pumps himself up and he's like ready to like kill these kids. His programming got overridden. Fern does her best to be like, I'm the captain. Like, it doesn't work, and the kids are about to be torn limb for limb. But Neel comes in, he uses his bravery, and he's down to fight. He puts his dukes up and he's like, let's go. And of course he gets a little bit help from Jod, who turns off the safety switch. Neel passes out, and that's the end of the episode. Something that I've noticed about this show is it doesn't let us like sit on things. I feel like we just started to get an inkling of this idea that SM-33 might know something or is not letting on to something, but it's like revealed to us in the same episode. I wish that it like kept going. I just feel like this show has just been like revealing things so quickly, and I don't really like it. Actually is like a little bit of a disappointment for me. I kind of wish that we had these plot points that expanded multiple episodes like it did in the first 2 episodes with At-Attin. It was slowly revealed to us that something is amiss. And then the 3rd episode with Kim, the owl, it's all kind of revealed to us in exposition, like right away. It kind of takes away all the mystery. And it's the same thing with this SM-33 saying. You know, we don't really get time to like sit on it and like wonder about it. Like, let us speculate. So I guess that's like my one critique about this show so far is like, just let us speculate a little bit more. Let us have our theories. I felt like a lot of this episode was just unearned. Again, I like this episode, but I don't think it was the best. And I think because all the other episodes have been so good and so strong, that this one just kind of like fell flat for me. Let me know your thoughts about this episode in the comments down below. What was working for you? What was not working for you? If there's anything that wasn't working for you. This has been so much fun hanging out with you, and I will see you on the next one. May the force be with you. Bye.